Welcome everybody to Go Local Live. I'm Josh Fenton, CEO and co-founder. Rainy day in Providence and a lot of news. The suspension of Donald Trump's Facebook account continues. Facebook just made that announcement about an hour ago. You can read about it on Go Local. Also, the Vice President of the United States, as well as former Governor and now Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimondo, are in town today. There's an interesting commentary from an interview we did with the professor at University of Virginia, Jennifer Lawless, a big Biden supporter, but was confused, as she said, why the two would come here to lobby for the infrastructure bill. There's no doubt that the congressional delegation in Rhode Island is strongly supportive. There's so many important states that have swing members of Congress that need attention. But stay tuned for more coverage on both those. Let's go to Robert Rutley for our weekly discussion with the folks at Mott Chace Sotheby's International, talking about what's going on in the crazy world of real estate here in Rhode Island. Robert, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Josh. Thanks for having me again.
Listen, let's start. You've had some interesting listings. Mesmerizing listings. Let's talk about Grayton Drive over on the east side of Providence in the Summit neighborhood. It's a small kind of pseudo Tudor little house. I know it. It was in the ward that I represented on the city council way back in the olden days. And that house was on the market for I think $395, and it sold. Tell us the status of that one.
Well, it hasn't sold yet. It's under contract. It's through contingencies. In fact, there were no contingencies, which is not uncommon in this market for an accepted offer. So, we had quite a bit of interest, and this is happening all over the east side. So it's every listing that is turnkey and that is priced correctly will have a hell of a lot of showings, over a weekend or longer. One of the things that I know that I try to do and the Blackstone tries to do is try to get as many people in as possible, because if we don't do that, what's our marketing worth? And the more people that you see that see a property, the higher the price actually goes. So, the values of the property and pricing it for competition, we knew that we were going to get probably a price between, $425, $450. Every once in a while, and I'm seeing this, I feel like my premonitions are correct with prices for a lot of the time. But every once in a while, there's some crazy buyer's agent that is getting their buyer in at a ridiculous value, and that's what happened at Grayton. Can't tell you what that ridiculous value is. It will close a little bit later, but I'm sure we'll have another discussion then about it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's so little inventory on the east side or across the state, but especially under $500,000 on the east side of Providence. It's a needle in a haystack to find anything in that price range.
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest concerns is that, that is the lower end price range for the east side of Providence. And when you've got so much competition and people are making, crazy bids on property, where does that leave the people that are still lingering, that are trying to find that entry level home? Do the valuations just continue to rise?
Yeah, I mean, let's go over to Pasquale. That's a property that I think probably more than anything shows what's the transformation of the real estate market here in Providence, especially.
You price them out.
Robert, can you hear me?
Yeah, I froze. I froze briefly there. Ask again.
Okay, I want to talk about Pasquale. Here's a house built, government funding from the feds under the Sunland and Cianci administrations in 1993. It got completed in 1994. It sold for $40,000. The down payment was a grant from the city of Providence to the homeowners if they lived there for 5 years. That house, we wrote a piece about it in the affordability of real estate as the example, almost the icon for this issue. It was read tens of thousands of times. Talk about what happened with Pasquale.
Well, the West Side neighborhoods and the neighborhoods off of Broadway and off of Westminster, where there's great risk, there's great reward is all that I can say. In the past 10 years, maybe even the past 12, 13 years, we've seen such an increase in interest. And that goes beyond the little neighborhood around the Armory into other properties that are beautifully historic over on the West Side neighborhoods. So I think what we're seeing here is that people making an investment and then that need to live in a neighborhood that has all those great restaurants and all those coffee shops. People are expressing that they want to live there, and they're doing that by really competing for those single family properties. It's interesting. When I first moved to Rhode Island 30 years ago and then to Providence 20 years ago, Broadway was not some place you would hang out. Broadway was still sort of a somewhat of a dangerous neighborhood. I mean, I've never felt unsafe walking around any of Providence neighborhoods, but it wasn't really something that people were really interested in. It has had a great renaissance in itself, and I think that the property values are really showing that. De Pasquale is just one of many houses that are over in that little neighborhood on Federal Street and De Pasquale that are, have those new builds from 1994. And I say new builds in Rhode Island, which was confusing to a lot of people across the country. But we've got so many heritage and legacy properties that 1994 is pretty new.
So that house was on the market for $400,000. It's under contract now. I'm guessing it's more than $400,000?
You can guess that everything is more than the list price, correct?
Yeah, so we'll wait to hear on that one. We look for an update on both those properties. What we're seeing, I think, across the state is this constantly inching up, maybe more than inching. And it raises the question of, is there a cap to this? Does it stop? Fundamentals of supply and demand tell you, hey, listen, there's 10 qualified buyers for every house that's going on the market. That's a lot of buyers that need to be satisfied.
Right. And last time I was here, we talked about the millennial input into the market and how they're really a driving force behind all of the demand. And values are going up. Values are going up at historic rates right now. And I think that they will continue to go up. But economists are saying that this is not a bubble yet, but we have now are the underpinnings of a possible bubble. And that only happens if speculators enter the market. If there's a lot of property speculation, because, a bubble really just implies that overvaluation in the market is driven by that speculating. So if speculators go in there and they start saying, I think we can sell this house for, $1 million when it's really a $500,000 neighborhood, and then somebody buys that, I think then people are underwater because or people are. That's the thing that we're scared of as a bubble. So back in 2005, 2006, mortgage lenders weren't as restricted, and were offering crazy, weird packages for anybody that had any sort of credit. It's a lot more streamlined now. It's a lot more restricted. So I'm not seeing a bubble happening myself. I think that we're actually going to see the market slow down a little bit. I don't think values are going to decrease. I think they're going to continue to edge up, maybe plateau a little bit, but what we're going to see is a lot less competition. 2 months ago, I would list a property and would have 27 to 30 offers. Now I list a property and I have between 10 and 12 offers. So while that still seems crazy, it is half of what we were seeing a couple months ago. I think that will continue to slide a little bit. And I think that competition that drives the price up farther and over will kind of taper off a little bit. So there'll be less competition driving that price up, but people will still want their value for the homes they're selling.
So let me ask you two questions. Number one is, okay, you're only getting 10 to 12 offers. 3 years ago, how many offers did you get on the average property? And then secondly, when you're having these open houses and you're getting 20, 30, 40 folks coming through the door, how many of them are speculators? How many of them are the term house flippers who are coming in, seeing what the condition is, how quick they can move it, and how quick they can flip it?
In my personal experience, the houses that I'm selling aren't usually houses that need to be flipped, but I have worked with a couple people that are either looking for an investment opportunity for college rentals, or they're looking for an opportunity to add more quality into a home so they can resell it. Doesn't happen very often. The latter one probably has happened once or twice a year for the past couple of years. But man, I remember having open houses and be sitting in somebody's kitchen, bored out of my mind for 2 hours, and nobody shows up. So, wow, what a shift in the market.
You're so popular now. It's really a reflection of you, Robert. Let's
Yeah,
talk about bubbles, though. We all saw it in '07, '08. Maybe on more stable neighborhoods like an East Side or a Barrington, you only saw a 10 or 15% dip in price. But in other areas of Providence, you saw housing prices cut in half.
Yeah. Well, that's a really tough time for a lot of people. And I think that that there was a lot that was going on around that time, financially, that drove the speculation and the investors in the market, and all the foreclosures because of the adjusted rate mortgages or balloon payments that people couldn't make. And I think that's really what crashed the market. I'm not seeing a possibility for a lot of foreclosures here. I think that people that are buying homes are well qualified, and I think they're jumping through the hoops just like we're supposed to.
Robert, let's talk about some new listings you have. Narragansett, you just put, I saw it come through the transom. I look at a lot of real estate. It was a great property in Narragansett. What happened with it?
Well, 147 Foddering Farm, we listed it this last weekend. We did a little coming soon because, again, with a neighborhood with so much velocity and interest, you really kind of have to slow down that marketing a little bit so everybody has a chance to view it online so they can make those appointments. So we showed it for 3 days straight. We did get, in this instance, we got 11 offers, but kind of well within what I thought we were going to get. Again, there's that median where I expect everybody to offer, and then you have an outlier that offers a little bit more. So, we want that outlier again, and it's great for sellers. But man, it's not nice to have to give that bad news to all the buyers, because there are some really hardworking agents out there and some really lovely people that need homes.
Yeah, and then let's travel to Bristol. You got something special down there.
All right, so we have a listing out on Papa Squash Point, 10 Courageous Circle, that just went under contract, and we're super excited about that. We had a recent price reduction to $2.85 million, and that immediately brought some major interest.
And Narragansett and Bristol, were those Rhode Islanders or out-of-staters?
They're
Buyers.
Well, the buyers in Narragansett are Rhode Islanders. The buyers at that higher price point are a completely different cup of tea. Anyways, these are people that live in different locations. So Not necessarily Rhode Islanders, but they have a couple of their homes different places.
Got it. International people of intrigue. That's what we call them here at GoLocal, right? Sometimes they're in James Bond movies. Sometimes they are not. Where do you see the summer going? Can you keep up this pace? Are we gonna see more sellers enter the market, or will we see kind of inventory at about this place? A month and a half's worth of inventory and not much else.
I think that I'm having lots of conversations with sellers right now who would not normally think about selling. They've held onto properties for 20, 25 years, and they're seeing that the market is completely different right now. So they're taking that opportunity to get their properties ready to put on the market. I think that we will start satiating some of the buyer pool in the next 3 months, and I think that we're going to see a little bit of a shift. There'll be a little bit of competition in hot neighborhoods, but maybe we're looking at full list price and not people not having to drop contingencies like they are right now.
It seems, and I am a sample size of one, we are getting letters and postcards every day at our house saying, oh, do you want to sell? Do you want to sell? Contact us. Is that the norm? Or is that neighbors of mine just wanting to get us out of the neighborhood?
Well, we have more real estate agents, well, more realtors in the United States right now than we've ever had before at almost 1.5 million. So what you're seeing now is a lot of desperation and a lot of schools of thought from different types of agents who are sending out mailers or, or cold calling or knocking on your door trying to get your listing. That's yeah, I mean, if you look at statistics, that's not the best way to get a listing. That's not the best way to build a relationship with somebody that trusts you. It's interesting that it's happening, but I think that there's a lot of new agents that are and established agents who see that things are good right now, so they're doing everything that they can to get that business. It's totally fine with me. If they bring more listings to the market and and my buyer is able to buy them, fantastic. There's plenty of real estate out there. Let's get it all on the market.
Yeah, listen, the Wall Street Journal about 2 months ago had a story. There were more realtors in the United States than there were properties listed. That's a competitive business.
Yeah. Yeah, in Rhode Island, I don't think it's as competitive as some places. Say Los Angeles or Naples, Florida. It is everybody is a real estate agent. It's a little crazy.
Not in Burrillville. Burrillville, it's a little calmer down in Burrillville.
I don't think so.
Robert, you get the last word. What should buyers be thinking about? What should sellers be thinking about?
Well, I think the buyer should be holding, to their standards and not really. It's really hard to not get caught up in the fury and the excitement of these multiple offer situations. Stand your ground, really understand where the values are at. Their resources are all out there if your agent's not giving you that information, but your realtor should be giving you information on how much a property should be valued at, and what sounds crazy and what's not crazy. So be smart about your purchase. Don't be one of those crazy outliers unless you really, really, really need a house and you've got extra cash laying around. For sellers, sell it. Man, if you've got something, put it on the market. Now is the time.
Yeah. Listen, Robert Rutley from Mott Chace, Sotheby's International. As always, it is great to hear your insights. Congratulations on all the recent sales. They've just been going ding, 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 ding. At record pace. So congratulations to you. For everybody else, stay tuned. We're going to have much more over the course of the day on GoLocal and our daily plea, wear your mask, please get vaccinated. We're stuck at a little above 50% of Rhode Islanders have gotten at least one dose. We really need to increase that dramatically. We need to get up to 75, 80% of Rhode Islanders. We got a long way to go. Get vaccinated, you'll feel better. And you can do a lot more fun stuff. Thanks, everybody. Stay tuned.